Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Today, we're unpacking two really fascinating currents in the world of rugby. They both kind of showcase evolution, really.
Yeah, evolution under pressure, you could say. One is very personal, human, and the other is structural, right at the top of the game.
Exactly. First, we'll get into this incredible human interest story. It involves one of the biggest names in rugby history, but, well, it's taking a completely surprising turn.
Hmm.
And then after that, we'll switch gears. We'll take a look at the future of the game itself through some pretty radical rule changes being talked about for 2026. And hey, just quickly, to make sure you never miss an insight like these, please subscribe to Rugby Obsession wherever you get your deep dives.
Right, so our mission today is pretty clear. We're digging into the sources on these two topics to give you, the listener, a quick but really informed understanding. We want you to grasp the personal drive involved in, say, escaping a massive shadow, and also the big pressures world rugby is dealing with to keep the game thriving.
So let's start with that first one, the Lomu legacy. I mean, you hear the name Lomu, and immediately you think of Jonah Lomu, the late, great All Black.
Absolutely, an icon, 63 caps, 37 tries, became the game's first truly global superstar.
The pressure of having that surname in New Zealand, especially in rugby, it's almost unimaginable, isn't it?
It really is. It creates this huge expectation, almost like a current pulling you in one direction. And that's what makes the story of his son, Dhyreille Jonah Lomu, so interesting.
Because the assumption is just black jersey, right?
Exactly. But his life story actually gives him some unusual options. Dhyreille was born in France.
Oh, right. During Jonah's short playing stint there, Marseille, wasn't it?
That's the one, Marseille.
Yeah.
So that means if he ever did decide to play top-level rugby, he could actually declare for France, a Six Nations side.
Wow. Okay, that changes things. Eligible for France, not automatically the All Blacks.
Yep. Apparently his nickname back home in New Zealand is even Frenchie.
Okay, that adds a layer. But the really fascinating part, the thing that jumped out from the sources, it's what Dhyreille and his brother Brayley are actually doing.
They're not just sort of dodging the rugby expectation, they're dedicating themselves to something completely different.
They really are. About 4 years back, they made this huge decision. They switched their focus entirely to tennis.
Tennis. Not exactly the Lomu family sport you'd expect.
Not at all. And to make it work, the intense training needed for professional tennis, they switched schools. They moved to Tikura.
That's the NC correspondence school, right? Lets you manage your own schedule.
Exactly. It was purely to maximize their time on the tennis court. A massive commitment.
And it seems like more than just a career choice. It feels like a psychological one, too. Dhyreille apparently looks quite a bit like his dad.
He does. But his dream, he stated it clearly, is to become, and I quote, a #1 professional tennis player in the world.
That's quite the ambition. But the reasoning he gave, that's what really struck me.
Oh, it's incredibly honest, isn't it? He basically said, Dad will always be the best.
And I thought to maybe give something else a try, because I'll never be better than him.
Yeah, just laying it out there. That takes huge self-awareness for a young guy. To say, I can't win that comparison, so I'll compete somewhere else. Defining success on his own terms.
Completely. Escaping that shadow by choosing a different field entirely. And the dedication is serious. We're talking professional level training.
The sources mention the hours, right? Like 9 a.m. sometimes until 7:30 p.m.
Depending on court time, yeah. Schoolwork fits around the training. It's intense.
And the whole family is involved. His mom, Nadine, and their grandfather, Mervyn.
Mervyn's coaching them, shuttling them around Auckland. It's a massive family effort backing this individual dream.
It also mentioned a bit about their personalities. Brayley's quieter.
Apparently, yeah. But Dhyreille is described as the most competitive by far.
So that Lomu competitive fire is definitely there, just channeled differently.
Exactly. It's the drive of a top athlete, just aimed at a tennis ball, not a rugby ball. They chose to redefine their game, literally.
That's actually a perfect bridge to our next topic. While the Lomu family is redefining personal success, World Rugby is looking at redefining the sport itself.
Yeah, moving from that personal evolution to structural evolution within the game.
We're focusing on two big proposed law changes that World Rugby is considering for potentially 2026, aimed at, well, improving things for players and fans.
And they're not minor tweaks. World Rugby seems ready to make some pretty bold moves. These could really change how the game is played and watched.
Okay, let's dive into the first one, Deep Dive 2.1, the idea of no more draws.
Right. Using golden point extra time to get a winner.
So what's the problem they're trying to fix? Draws happen, right?
They do, but the argument is they're just unsatisfying, anticlimactic. You have 80 minutes of hard graft, intense rugby, and then it just ends. Fans feel frustrated, players too sometimes.
Okay, I can see that. So golden point is the fix. First score in extra time wins.
That's the proposal.
Yeah.
Try, penalty, drop goal, doesn't matter. First points take the match.
But doesn't that kind of risk undermining the 80 minutes? Like a scrappy drop goal in the 81st minute wins it after a team defended brilliantly for the whole match. Is that fair?
That's the debate, isn't it? But the thinking behind it, highlighted in the sources, is that it forces attacking rugby.
How so?
Well, once you're in golden point, cautious play goes out the window. You have to try and score. You take risks. You go for tries. You attempt those drop goals, which, let's be honest, is a skill in itself under pressure.
So it guarantees a dramatic finish, forces teams to be brave.
That's the idea. High stakes, immediate pressure. Plus, it cleans things up administratively.
Ah, yeah. League tables, knockouts, draws always complicate the tiebreakers.
Exactly. Golden point gives you a clear winner, simplifies standings, rewards the team that actually scores, and importantly, they're thinking about player welfare too.
Right, because extra time means more fatigue, more injury risk.
Yeah, so the proposals aren't for endless extra time. They're suggesting things like maybe 2 5-minute halves or just a single 10-minute period. First score wins within that limited time. It's about decisiveness, not exhaustion.
Okay, that context helps. Managing the extra load. Now, the second proposal. This one feels even more fundamental, maybe more controversial. Fewer substitutions.
This one cuts right to the bone of modern rugby strategy and physicality.
The current issue being, teams use all 8 subs, often bringing on almost a whole new forward pack late in the game.
Pretty much. Especially in that last 20 minutes. You get these huge, fresh impact players, often forwards, coming on to smash into defenders who've already played for an hour.
Turning the end of the game into more of a collision contest than about fatigue and skill finding space.
That's the argument. It becomes about brute force, these massive collisions, and there's a concern this contributes to injuries, particularly concussion risk, because the closing speeds are so high between fresh attackers and tiring defenders.
So reducing the number of subs, the benefit would be?
It forces coaches to pick players with better endurance, players who can last closer to the full 80 minutes. It rewards overall fitness, smart pacing, maybe more tactical kicking. And crucially, as players naturally tire, space should open up. That could lead to more creative running rugby in the final quarter, rather than just battering rams.
Okay, I see the logic.
Yeah.
But the current trend, especially with teams like South Africa, is going the other way, isn't it? The 6-2 split, even the 7-1 split on the bench?
Absolutely. Rassie Erasmus really pioneered that, maximizing the number of fresh forwards you could bring on to just dominate physically in the last 20, 30 minutes.
So if the top teams and coaches are leaning into that specialized power game, how realistic is it for World Rugby to just say, nope, fewer subs? Won't that just lead to knackered players making bad tackles and potentially more injuries?
That's the core tension, right? The 7-1 split was explicitly designed for relentless forward power through rotation. Reducing subs, say down to 5 or 6, would force a total rethink.
Coaches couldn't rely on swapping out most of the pack.
Exactly. Selection would have to shift back towards players with genuine 80-minute engines. It might make the end of games less predictable, maybe more open, less about just grinding it out with fresh giants.
So the hope is, yes, players get tired, but maybe the collisions become less severe because the attackers are also tiring, and space opens up for skill, not just power. It's a trade-off.
It's a significant strategic shift being proposed. A move away from prioritizing the collision towards rewarding conditioning and perhaps skill endurance. It's forcing an evolution.
Wow. Okay. So much to think about there. You really see that theme, whether it's Dhyreille Lomu deciding to define success his own way, changing sports entirely, or World Rugby looking at changing the very rules of the game to manage safety and spectacle. It's all about evolving under serious pressure. The sport never just stands still.
And the big question for rugby's future is how it balances these things. Do you go for the guaranteed drama of golden point? Or make a fundamental change like fewer subs to reshape the physical nature of the contest?
Really makes you think. What stands out to you listening to this? Do you reckon golden point is the way to go fairer, more exciting? Or is cutting down the subs the necessary step, even if it goes against current coaching tactics, to bring back more endurance and maybe open up the game? We genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this. What's your take? If you're enjoying this kind of deep dive and want more insights, Definitely subscribe to Rugby Obsession today.
And maybe just one last thought to leave you with, sort of tying these two stories together. Which decision actually takes more courage? Trying to change the rules of a massive, established global sport like rugby, knowing there'll be resistance, or, as a young man, choosing a completely different sport to step out from under the impossibly long shadow of a legendary father?
Oh, that's a good one.
Something to mull over, thinking about ambition, legacy, and change.
A really fantastic point to end on. Thanks for that. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to Rugby Obsession so you don't miss our next analysis. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to listening to our next episode.